Guys, good afternoon. Look at this. We were talking how to improve our vocabulary part. Okay. Then we talked about coinages, how these prefixes, okay, root and suffixes help us to identify the deeper meaning, inner meaning. And I said you have some pictorial information most of the times, or some actions are there in that. Okay, some kind of deeper meaning is clearly seen visually. If you focus more on that, maybe I would say it becomes easier to retain your vocabulary. Most of the times, our problem with the words, we generally or frequently forget them. So if you start seeing the picture, chances are bright that you remember. Okay. Then phrasal verbs. Guys, I posted a video. Please go through that. It's very good on this, phrasal verbs. I gave you that. Okay, but still, I want you guys go through that. You will get some more clarity. Very interesting. Well, check it out later, maybe after the class. Then, guys, you have idioms. Okay, idioms. What are these idioms? If you look at any language, every language has its own idiomatic expressions. Okay, idioms, I would say, guys, is a natural extension of human experiences, and whatever they have, this cultural and all this put into kind of phrase, and that is used in other context. For example, look at this. I will start with idioms. First, let me give some. Suppose he was caught red-handed. See this red-handed, it's an idiom. Now, what is the meaning behind this? Okay, or you might have heard, but my point here is, how do we retain them? How do we remember them? Deadline. When is the deadline for your exam? Exam. Okay. Bite the bullet. This is also another. Bite the bullet. Butter up. This is also one idiom. White elephant. White elephant. Know your ropes. Fine. My point here, guys, knowing the meaning of these words is not a problem. But as I said, we always forget. My takeaway from this is like this. If you know the meaning, yes, first know the meaning and see how that meaning is related to this. There is always some story behind these idioms, some or other story behind this. Okay, so if you know that story immediately, maybe you can relate this. For example, see here. red-handed. It happened some time ago. In and a king banned skin poaching. Skin poaching, sometimes some animals are killed only for their skin. So these hunters go into forests and they kill animals and they poach the skin. So some time ago, English king banned the skin poaching. But still, people do it illegally. So there were like guards, maybe soldiers or guards. So they were always on guard. If they find someone, killing animal and illegally poaching their skin, immediately these soldiers go to them and hold them and tie their hands. Obviously, when they were poaching the skin, their hands become red with blood. So they take these fellows and present in front of the king with the hands red color hands with blood. So they were presented or they were caught red-handed. What sense I use this red-handed? If you find someone or somebody is caught while doing some mistake, especially kind of illegal things against law, caught doing illegal things, then we chances are bright we remember, because we all love stories. If you see this story behind this, immediately okay, red-handed, okay, fine. Now it doesn't mean that I use only for the skin poaching. Even if I find someone popping in the examination hall, then I say this student was caught red-handed, right? And deadline, and you know that deadline is some time in modern English generally which you are not supposed to cross. When is the deadline to submit your assignments? 7 o'clock is a deadline. Tomorrow is a deadline. 31st December is a deadline for taxpayers. Then why these guys are calling deadline? Look at the story behind it. I tell you where to find these stories later. First, just enjoy. Let us learn in the process. There was a time, all these guys originated, 90% of them are from England, obviously, right? So there was a time crime rate crime rate has gone up suddenly. So these kings wanted to curb this crime rate and they wanted to punish these criminals. So they had to put them in prison. But prison was not sufficient to put these guys. So these guys who king uh, out of this, in the ground, maybe out of the prison, they temporarily constructed some tents, and around that, these guys drew one line, and out of that line, guards used to guard with rifles or whatever the ammunition they had. So no prisoner was supposed to cross the line. If somebody crosses this on the spot, they were shot dead. So that line is called deadline, which people were not supposed to cross. In the same sense, not in the literal sense, but we use which time which you're not supposed to you know, cross. Okay. Now, bite the bullet. Bite the bullet. First, let us find out the meaning. Means bear the pain. Bear the pain. Now, why these guys are calling bite the bullet? If you look at this one, bite the bullet and bear the pain, you don't find any relation. The story is what relation? Story is what the logical relation, so that you remember. And this goes back to wartime. So these guys, sometimes what happens when two countries or two opponent countries, they were soldiers fighting. Sometimes, or obviously, very natural people, get hurt and all. And they have a temporary hospitals, with doctors and all. So these doctors' work is to get these soldiers who were wounded and give the treatment. Sometimes what happens, guys, these guys run short of this sense on whatever they were supposed to use with for the treatment, because they had to come all the way from the country. The war is happening somewhere at the border. Sometimes these doctors, take out the bullet from the soldier's leg or hand, wherever it was hot, without using anesthesia, because there was no anesthesia and they cannot wait till it comes from the country. So before doing that, these guys, soldiers who were hurt, were given a bullet and put between the teeth, and they were asked to bite the bullet so that they can bear the pain. See, the doctor says, I'm going to operate this, and you please keep biting the bullet in the pain. So these guys, soldiers, keep biting the bullet to bear that pain. So that system, okay, that practice has gone into language. Even in other usage, like, whenever I say, like, oh, this fellow had to bite the bullet because he had to go through so many hardships. Okay, means bear the pain. Fine. Now, butter up. Okay, this was originated from India. I think Tamilians, you know, Tamilians, they do this while performing puja, especially Sri Krishna. They just take that butter and make like a round balls, and they threw on the statue. And it's like, while the way we throw flowers, they used to do this one with the butters. And you know how this Krishna is related to butter. So why people were performing this puja? Only to get the favor. So butter. Maybe I would say in our local language, people started using this on a biscuit. Okay, biscuit now, biscuits. So butter up is, we also call muska. Butter up means to, like, praising someone to get the favor from them, right? Now, white elephant. White elephant. First, let us find out the meaning. Suppose somebody has some property, especially a machinery, like, let us say a bike. This bike is very, when this fellow finds it difficult to maintain that, at the same time it's difficult to sell it out. A white elephant, literally from taken from white elephant. You might have seen this, but kings, whenever they were happy, whenever they get good news from people, they just take out their whatever they have in their neck, like a necklace or gold chain or whatever, they give as a gift. Especially poets and all, if they find, if they make kings happy, they gift them. They gift gold, they gift buildings, lands, whatnot, horses. So sometimes I think Indonesian culture, I'm not very sure. Sometimes these poets were given these white elephants as a gift. And white elephant those days, like, our BMW, our cars, very expensive and very prestigious in society to have white elephant. So this fellow, poor poet, they get they get this white elephant, take them home, and you know how much elephant eats. So sometimes this fellow, who poet, had to feed the elephant by selling his property. So white elephant means your property, which is difficult to maintain, difficult to sell. Okay, that is the thing. And know your ropes. Know your ropes. Now look at this. To be, find out the meaning. To be good at your profession. I may say, like, this lion knows his ropes. This engineer knows his ropes. It means they are very good at their profession. Now, why am I using ropes? Knowing ropes. This was also literally from soldiers. I'm sorry, sailors. And now we have so much of technical knowledge. We have mechanical engineers, civil engineers, computer engineers, all that stuff, different. Those days, guys, the only technical knowledge and technical profession was sailing. There was no machines. People literally row their, boats and, take the, use those ropes and maps, to sail this. A sailor, good sailor is supposed to know ropes, where they are kept, and how these ropes should be used. That was the technical knowledge. Okay, a good sailor. Those days, sailors were like, given this kind of compliment, saying that the sailor knows his rope very well, so that he can tie, untie, and all. So I'm using, in modern English, we use this. Know your ropes means that he is good. You can use it for any profession. Okay, this is the way I want you to learn. Don't simply look at the idioms and find out the meaning. Chances are bright you forget. So where do you find this? I'll give you one site where you can see the stories behind this. You don't have to learn all them. Whatever you find it interesting, you also find out the background of that. So chances are bright, and you can keep using them. Look at this. Cat got your tongue. Okay, and armed to teeth. Okay, cost you an arm and a leg. Don't go with the literal meaning. So obviously, inner meaning, something is there. Okay, now cat out of the bag. Okay, hands down, hands down. Now sleep tight. Okay, break the ice. You might have heard this frequently. Break the ice. Okay, and steal one's thunder. Steals one's thunder. Okay, and stick to your guns. Stick to your guns. Okay, fine. There is another interesting story behind this. Meaning of cat got your tongue. Suppose I ask you a question, you're not answering me. Okay, I said, what is the answer for this? And you guys are not answering. Then I sometimes scold you. What happened, guys? Why are you not opening your mouth? Has cat got your tongue? Suppose somebody is not involving in conversation, one person who is silent, then we use this. Has cat got your tongue? Now, where is it taken from? It has nothing to do with the cat. There's a kind of punishment people used to get, offenders used to get from the king. Okay, there used to be one hunter. The name of the hunter was Cat O9. Now, 9 ropes were added to this hunter. Okay, so this person who gets a punishment, we call them lashes. If a person gets a lash, one lash, 9 ropes, you can imagine. So guys, the pain was so severe, and the offenders or the person who gets a punishment, sometimes couldn't say anything because of the pain. So it means cat got your tongue means have you received that punishment? That is what the meaning of that. Okay. Arm to teeth. Suppose I ask you guys, when is your exam? So tomorrow is our exam. Okay. How did you prepare for your exam? You said, sir, I prepared arm to teeth. Now, literal meaning of arm to teeth, we say ready to face something challenging, especially. This was again taken from soldiers. Medieval time soldiers, if you remember, those days there were no guns and other things, and people used to fight with the swords or spears or whatever that iron material. So this soldier, while going to participate in a war, he carries all the ammunition, maybe arrows, swords, daggers, all the from top to bottom. He uh, carries all the ammunition, I mean, weapons. And sometimes, if he doesn't have any space between teeth, he carries one dagger. It means from top to bottom, that fellow is completely filled with this kind of weapons. So he was armed to teeth. It means completely ready. That's the meaning of that. Now, cost you an arm and leg. An arm and a leg. It means I use it for expensive. Synonym of that expensive. Expensive. It cost me. He bought a car, and he says, "Oh, he bought a car, but it cost him an arm and a leg." It means very expensive. And my point is, why am I using this an arm and a leg? Why not something else? That is what learning part here. This was time ago. There was no paper. Paper was not invented at that time. And if you guys remember, and kings used to have portraits even before the invention of this paper. Okay, on cloth kind of thing. And you observe, guys, most of the portraits were only that profile, side face or just a face. Very few were with the complete body, you know, because these guys had to take that natural colors and all. It was an expensive affair to get that portrait done. Oh, very filthily rich people, you know. You might have seen the Shah Jahan and all. They're only carrying a flower in hand and maybe standing their side, profile. So only people who are filthily rich can go for complete from top to bottom picture portrait. So that picture, suppose a person lost, uh, they are asked to paint the arms and legs, obviously expensive. So it costs you an arm and leg to get this portrait done. That particular part is also used in other instances. Cat out of the bag. It means somebody's secret is revealed. Somebody's secret is revealed. That is what the meaning of cat out of the box. Then why? Why this? Interesting story. Secret or cheating. Somebody's cheating. Guys, cheating has always been part and parcel of human life, isn't it? Good old days when there were no modern part and all, people used to have super bazaars outside the village. Now we have supermarkets, super bazaars, and this, we used to call them Santa. People go out and they buy whatever they want. Okay, so these guys, and these English people are very fond of eating pigs, pork. So just imagine the situation: a person on his horse went into the market and bargaining to buy one pig, and the pig is kept in a gunny bag and put it in front of the rider on a horse, and this fellow takes that pig away. But these sellers, they wanted to cheat this fellow. So sometimes instead of putting that pig without this fellow's buyer's knowledge, they put a cat and tie the gunny bag and put it on the horse. If it is a pig, happily sleeps wherever it is kept. But cats, what happens? You know, because of that uncomfortable, it jumps out of the bag. Sometimes in the process of giving this itself, it jumps out of the bag. Then is cheating is caught, secret is revealed. In modern English, when I say cat is out of the box, then I say, guys, I know who made that mistake. Okay, because now the cat is out of the bag. You cannot hide anything. That's the way I use it. Hands down. Hands down, we generally associate this with victory. Hands down victory. Suppose if I say that, it means a person got that victory without much efforts, not full efforts. Easy victory. Maybe you can say that easy victory. Now, this was taken from horse riding, horse riding competition, right? Race. So what happens? Just imagine horses are taking part in the race. So the person who is leading this race looks back and he finds someone here, okay, but that fellow is somewhere here, very, very closer to the finish line. And all other horses are actually following somewhere here. He looks back, maybe here he is at this point. He looks back and he understands, okay, now victory is decided. So he leaves the reins, we call them reins of the horse, which is pulled. He just leaves, relaxes here. Then he crosses. So that's what, hands down. He was just pulling the ropes, reins. Now stop doing this one. From that instance or practice, hands down is used. Very interesting. Now, when do I say sleep tight? When I want to say good night, is a good night, sleep tight. Now, why people are using this? I don't know whether you have seen cots, guys, and cots are made of this, what do you say, cloth kind of wire, or those days, four legs, right? And all these legs were woven with uh, some kind of cloth. Okay, so whenever these clothes are tight, this fellow sleeps nicely. But if it is loosens, it becomes a sack. So it's a kind of wishing. Sleep tight means comfortably. Sleep comfortably on a tightened cot. Okay. Break the ice. Break the ice means to start a conversation or taking initiation to start a conversation. Now, there is very funny, interesting story. Conversation, not conversion, conversation. Okay, guys. So what's this about? You know, good old days. We are very lucky to have these 3 seasons equally good or bad, right? But whereas these Western countries, how horrible they have their winters. So sometimes those days, sailors take off this on ship in a summer, and by the time winter approaches, the sea becomes just like an ice, so they cannot sail it further, isn't it? So what happens the moment they understand winter is approaching? They slowly move that to the close by land. Okay, they can't go deep into the sea also. So sometimes by the time these guys the ship reaches the coast, Winter approaches and sea becomes ice, and somewhere the ship gets stuck. Maybe when they are closer to the village or land. So they are here, somewhere here, and people are here. Sometimes these guys who people go on their foot and break the ice around the ship so that ship can sail to their place. So strangers and soldiers, they got some kind of introduction. Friendship started. So this friendship started with what action? Breaking the ice. So break the ice means start conversation. Steal one's thunder. Right? There is some interesting story behind this. First, let me give the meaning. Meaning of this is stealing somebody else's idea. Somebody else's idea. Okay. Now, again, there is another interesting story behind this. I'm sure you guys might have heard about Shakespeare. So when Shakespeare's there, I mean, in those days, the only entertainment was dramas, plays and dramas. So there were also so many other playwriters like him who were like, playing. There used to be some, drama theaters and all. There was another uh, writer like him, Johnson. If I remember the name correctly. So guys, the background music, they create all kind of special effects. So this Johnson created one apparatus, okay, which gives the sound of thunder sound for his particular play. Okay, so he enacted that play on stage. Okay, and the play was a big flop, but the apparatus he created to create this thunder sound was a big hit. Now later on, people started using this apparatus to create thunder sound whenever they wanted to create. So this Johnson used to funnily, say this statement. It seems whenever he heard this thunder sound from the drama theaters, he used to say, "Oh, look at this! They stole my thunder." In a literal sense. But his idea is that these guys took away his idea. In modern English, we still use this kind of meaning. Okay, fine. Stick to your guns. Stick to your guns. Meaning of stick to your guns is don't change your opinion. Don't change your stand on whatever the belief system you have. Okay, so why am I using stick to your guns? This is taken from soldiers. If you remember, guys, any war movie, all the soldiers are given rifles. Each one has one, rifle or some kind of gun. So this commander is giving instructions to them. What? So, this army is approaching. Okay, and he says, stick to your guns. It means don't move from your position. Keep firing or something like that. Stick to your guns means not to change your opinion. Okay, that is what this. Okay, like this, guys, there are so many idioms. Okay, where can you find these idioms? Look this. I'll show you. I'll show you where to find this in Google. Okay. Guys, this is the site. You please note down the phrase finder. Okay. It's called phrase finder. Now it's your patience, it's your interest. Okay. Just in case if you find something somewhere while reading, maybe you can cross check just to find out story behind this. Okay, we'll see what kind of. See here, origin of phrases. Maybe with B. We'll see with B. What is this? Okay. Look at this. Now, backseat driver. What does it mean? Slow. Look at this, guys. What's the meaning of the phrase backseat driver? Someone who criticizes from the sidelines. We like suppose Kohli is batting. We are sitting in front of the TV, and like come on, man, he should have gone for half drive. He should have bowled for. We always do this one. We are not involved in that action, but sitting somewhere, we passes comments. Then we call them backseat driver. Now, see, this comes from the annoying habit of some people of giving unwanted advice to vehicle drivers. It emerged in the USA in early 20th century as motoring was becoming widespread. Before the phrase took on its figurative unwanted advisor. Figurative means which is don't take in literal sense. Doesn't mean that you should always sit in the back and give this sit anywhere and you are unwanted advisors. All right. So this is the way I look at this, and let us see. Okay. What is this? You might have heard this. Early bird catches the worm. Means what? What's the meaning of this phrase? The early bird. Success comes to those who prepare well and put in effort. Now, what's the origin of this? The early bird catches the worm. This is first recorded in John Ray's A Collection of English Proverbs. Okay, it may be some proverb, maybe some kind of written stuff. Okay, and see, religion. Some are taken from religion, some are taken from sports, some are taken from war, some are taken from medicine, whatnot. All fields, this kind of words are like they contribute somewhere without knowingly. See, religion, primarily the Christian religion is and has been important to people as the English language developed. collection of phrases saying that reflects. Okay, and maybe some are taken from political backgrounds or statements are frequently used. Okay, it's a very good one. You guys can use. A riddle wrapped up in an enigma. Fellow traveler. Okay, what does it mean? Fellow traveler means what? Who? Someone sympathetic toward a certain point of view without being fully paid up member of the club. It means the fellow is not literally related to that one, but sympathizer. In a literal meaning, fellow traveler just means someone who travels with you. It was first applied to non-communists who were inclined towards the views of Communist Party by Leon Trotsky. He is a Russian, blah blah blah, whatever. He is a person sympathizer, fellow traveler. Let's see what is taken from sport. Some efforts you need to put to remember. Now, obviously, I think you can make out it. What is back to square one? It means again you have to start from the beginning. Where is it taken from? Back to square one means back to the beginning. Yeah, start again. Origin. Back to square one is a classic of folk etymology. Although origin is uncertain, no uncertainty lurks in the minds of those who are sure how, where, and when it was derived. Okay, I mean, I would say this was taken from the game, like a chess game or Psalm CD, like that. Okay, guys. So this is one source. I don't know whether I sent you this. I'll send you one more. Wait a minute. Minute. Yes, I'll send you this. Another examination point of view. Sentence completion. How do they look like? They are like this. Like this. See this? He wants to see your active vocabulary. It means, okay, you know the meaning, but do you know what is the right word in this context? So my point here is don't really worry about words if you don't know yet. Almost all 500 and 501. Why almost all 501 sentence completion questions are there. Now what I want you to guys do is read this. After making dash remarks to the president, the reporter was not invited to return to the White House press room. So dash remarks, positive remarks or negative remarks? Obviously negative remarks. Okay, so you need to know hospitable, itinerant, enterprising, chivalrous, irreverent. If you know, you know. Otherwise, what I want to do is, what is the meaning of hospitable? Find out. Itinerant, find out. Enterprising, find out. Chivalrous, find out. So you have a purpose, not simply you're learning a word just because you have to learn a word. In the process, you also learn, some other words. So here, hospitable, uh, positive word, one who takes care of guests. Itinerant, itinerary means leave plan. I mean, travel plan, not leave plan, travel plan. Enterprising, very dynamic, taking forward. Chivalrous is a word generally used for men who take care of women, who respect women, this is called chivalrous. Irreverent, not respect. So that is a word. I'm sure there are, why I have suggested this one, guys. Words which have come across, these are all very frequently tested, in all the exams. And this would, I would say, it's a good source words. Okay, fine. Now, let us move to this. Minute. Reading comprehension. Okay, let's move to the last topic. Here, we'll spend some time here, guys. Check it out. Before coming to, let me give you some ideas. Now, you guys have to pay attention. In most of the exams, you were given small paragraph to long paragraph, something like this. Okay, now let me move to the paragraph. Paragraph is made of sentences, right? Sentences made of phrases, and phrases words. Suppose if I give a sentence, ask you to find out the error, obviously you will see that from grammatical point of view. But when I give you paragraph and understand, that is nothing but ideas. When I read one paragraph or when I read a newspaper, I don't see that as a grammatical aspect, right? Grammatical part runs back of your mind. Here I only, my brain grabs ideas. Ideas again divided into opinions and facts. Let's please pay attention. Ideas. I give you sentence in a paragraph. When you read one sentence, immediately back of your mind, oh, this is writer's opinion. Oh, it's a fact. That is what you guys have to first learn. Your purpose of reading is to identify opinions and facts. Now look at this one. I would be happy if you guys respond. Raju is a good boy. It's one sentence. Now tell me, this particular sentence is my opinion or fact? Raju is a good boy. Is it my opinion or a fact? Tell me. No one is answering me. Raju is a good boy is a writer's opinion. Okay. Now, as a writer, writing and reading both are like, same coin with different faces. Suppose as a writer, I am writing like this. Raju is a good boy. Okay. Now, I have given my opinion. But readers obviously like, okay, why are you giving me this opinion? or why should I believe you? Then I give one supporting part. He comes to classes regularly. Raju is a good boy. He comes to classes regularly. Now, he comes to classes regularly is a fact. Now, how do I make out the difference between facts and opinion? Opinions are cross-checked only with the writer, and this can be cross-checked with the third source. Now here, this is opinion, this is fact, but why should I believe the writer? I need a proof. Then he gives a proof there. How? He has got 99% of attendance. See, this is a paragraph. I go like this. Okay. So, as a reader of a paragraph, you are only reading this to find out facts and opinions. Raju is a good boy, opinion. He comes to classes regularly. It's a supporting fact, and this is a proof. So, from here to here, the complete presentation happened. Now, my point is, writers, examiners want to see, okay, guys, do you understand sentences? I have written something like this. Uh, can you deal with the opinion facts? Some questions are based on opinions. Some questions are based on facts. That's it. You take any paragraph, literally, newspaper, editorial, all that stuff. It is the combination of facts and opinions. Okay, fine. Now, and another thing is, guys, it doesn't mean that writer always expresses whatever he wants. There are certain things which are hidden, understood. Okay, now look at this one. Raju is a good boy. He comes to classes regularly. He has got 99% of attendance. Nowhere I mention who is Raju. Now, my question is this. Who is Raju from the passage? Is the question. Generally, you're going to see. And of course, I'll give you options. I'll say Raj is a doctor, a doctor, an actor, okay, a teacher, a student. Guys, tell me, based on this information, tell me who is Raju? Is he a doctor? Is an actor, a teacher, or a student? You can type your answers if you want. Okay, I'm sure you got the answer. It's a student. But my point is, how do you know that it's a student from this passage? Indirectly, certain words are helping me. What are those words? Classes regularly. Who? Obviously, it has to be student. And who's get attendance? Student. That's the reason. So what we have done is called as inference. Okay. Definitely, you'll get one question on inference in reading comprehension, and also one main point. And another questions, he wants you reference of the facts which are mentioned. That's it. Okay. I have a detailed program on this. We'll go through that. Just go through that. It will help you a lot. Yeah. Go with me, guys. Here, I want to focus again on vocabulary part in reading comprehension. See what happens sometimes. One word will make all the difference. If you know the meaning of that, you may understand the idea of the sentence. If you don't know, sometimes you can guess the meaning. That is the point. See here, it may be impossible to guess the meaning of a word from the context. Look at this. Some words. Raju scowled when he saw the dent in his car. Then I say, oh, scowl. Okay. What does it mean? We understand the whole idea if I understand meaning of the word scowl. We can guess that Raju is upset, at least when he notices a dent in his car. Although we can't know the exact meaning of scowl from the context, we can guess that it is a way of showing displeasure. Because where is the clue I got? Saw the dent, unhappy. Okay, fine. My point is, but it is not always. Depends on the context. Now look at this one. Raju scowled when he saw Aunt Anita. We don't know whether he was happy to see Aunt Anita or unhappy. Okay, so we cannot. But sometimes, as long as we can make out the meaning in the context, you try and do that make out. So these are the techniques. The be form is am, is, are, was, has been, have been. These be forms will help us sometimes to identify the meaning of that word. Look at this. Here, example is given. A salmon, a salmon is a fish. Salmon, and L is silent. A salmon is a fish. So what is salmon? It's a fish because be form. The sentence itself is giving. Now look at this. What is hypoxia? I don't know, but I can make out. Hypoxia is an illness caused by a deficiency of oxygen in the tissues of the body. Hypoxia, some deficiency of oxygen. Now, what is a porcupine? Is a large climbing rodent that is covered with sharp spines for defense. Okay. Now look at this. What is a meteorite? What is a meteorite? E is a falling star that reaches there. Okay. Oh, meteorite is a kind of star. I can make up with this. Okay. So sometimes B form helps me. Sometimes appositives. Appositives means, look at this. Sometimes this definite, whatever the word I mentioned, after that, maybe with a hyphen generally or a comma, I describe it. So that is called appositive. Look at this. The coelacanth, a large-bodied, hollow-spined fish, was thought to be extinct until recently. Now, what is coelacanth? This is helping me because this is appositive. Okay. Then pacemakers, small electrical devices that stimulate the heart muscle, have saved many lives. Now, what are these pacemakers? This part, which is there between these commas, is helping me to identify pacemaker is nothing but electrical devices. So you have to practice to look into this kind of stuff. Many residents of Hawaii used to believe that the volcano's flarings were tirades of their goddess Pele. Okay. Now, what is Pele? Goddess. Morse code, a system of telegraphic signals composed of dots and dash, was invented by Samuel F. Morse. What is Morse code? Is given in this F study. Fine. So apostrophe is nothing but apostrophes. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes a small dash, sometimes brackets, quotation marks, all this stuff will help me to identify the meaning of that particular word. Intensity, loudness or softness depends on the extent or amplitude of vibrations. Okay. Now, what is intensity? He has given with that hyphen. The use of carved birds, decoys, is not a new idea in hunting. Now, how do I know this? Decoys. He has given this. If you're ectomorphic, what is ectomorphic? He has given in the bracket the slender type. Okay. A path of the chieftain's headquarters winds through ancient petroglyphs, inscriptions in stone. Now, what is petroglyphs? Okay, he has given with it hyphen, inscriptions in stone. Okay, sometimes this or will help me to find out the meaning of the word. The husky or sled dog of the north is a hardy breed. What is husky? It's a dog. I know with this or. Altitude or the height above sea level is a factor that determines climate. What is altitude? How do I know? The or is giving me this. Vespers or evening worship. Vespers means evening worship. Okay. This is one. Sometimes, guys, as as for example, such as like, for instance, these words will also help me to identify the meaning of that particular word. Such large fish as groupers and moray eels recognize the wrasse as a friend that will help them. Okay, as group fish as groupers, and it means groupers and moray is nothing but fish. Creatures such as the camel and penguin. What is creatures? Camel and penguin. Okay. Now see, what is the meaning of paraphernalia? Maybe I can make out if I read the sentence. Camping paraphernalia, such as tents, sleeping bags, and cooking equipment, can range from very simple to quite complex. Means tents, sleeping bags, all that stuff. Okay. Look at this, guys. Sometimes this class, especially adjective class, will help me. Recent tests show that silver sulfidizing, which is a compound used in treatment of burns, can cure the most serious types of African sleeping sickness, which means some kind of compound used for treatment burns. The Kiva, where Pueblo Indians hold their secret ceremonies. What is Kiva? Secret ceremonies. So that is helping me to find out. Melody, which is a succession of sounds. What is melody? Succession of sounds. Non-lethal techniques, those that do not kill coitus, are being developed to protect sheep and their livestock. Those that do not kill, non-lethal means do not kill. Okay, this is the way I can sometimes make out. Look at this. Sometimes, guys, words you should go back and forward, find out. Look at this. Reference are the word that refer back or forward to other words in the sentence or the paragraph. You need to mind. Look at this. The farmers were concerned about growing number of boll weevils. An infestation of these insects could destroy the cotton crop overnight. You know, what is this boll weevils? Obviously, insects. I can make out, after a farmer concerned growing number. Obviously, why should they concern something? Infestation, these insects mean nothing but this. So, boll weevils. Okay. At least 50 weed species fight off competitors by emitting toxins from their roots, leaves, or seeds. These poisons do their work in a dozen ways, such as inhabiting germs. The toxins, sometimes we know it straight away, but These poisons means toxins. That is the way we can make out. 34th one. The groom struggled with his tuxedo. He wondered why he had to wear these kinds of clothes to get married. Tuxedo, maybe some kind of cloth. Obviously, it's a kind of cloth. Okay. Now see, sometimes the meaning of the words can be understood because they are in contrast to another word in a sentence. These are all contrast words which are linked, but in contrast, or despite, in spite of, unlike, however, instead, where all these words will help me to sometimes identify the meaning of that word if I don't know. The bite of a garter snake, unlike that of a deadly cobra, is benign. What is benign? Unlike that of a deadly is benign. It means opposite to deadly, not harmful. The blue bonnet, the Texas state flower, thrives in dry, poor soil but dies in overly wet condition. What is the meaning of thrives? These thrives I can make out but and dies, opposite of dies, lives. Unlike her gregarious sister, Jane is a shy, unsociable person who does not like to go to parties. Unlike this is this, the opposite of this is sociable. Right. So I'm just starting how to read sentence. Okay. If you don't know the particular word. Okay. Of course, you guys have to work, but you don't respond. Okay. Now, you know, I'll tell you first. He has given one sentence. Okay. Yes. This paragraph is all about linking similar ideas. Okay. Now, what is that is asking to find out here? Practice. Look at this. These to emphasize, we'll have this one, qualify these words, linkers. To illustrate, we use, for example, next, for instance, contrast, unlike in contract, whereas, concede, although, this kind of linkers I use. So he wants you to link properly. Look at this. Although potatoes are richer in food value than any other vegetable, they're not always a wise choice for a garden crop because they need a considerable amount of room. So, what should I do? They are most common vegetable, or what is that word going? What is that sentence I can go? Which one helps me? Although link. I'll do one more. Glass was precious to Egyptians who used it interchangeably by gemstones. But so obviously I need to understand the idea here, and obviously I understand the idea that is opposite of this because but is already given. That is what you need to select. Glass was precious to Egyptians who used it interchangeably with gemstones, but it is over 4,000 years old. No, it doesn't fit here. Its novelty as an artist material prevents being taken seriously. Today it has come out of factories and into the workshops. Today it is so commonplace in everyday object that it is seldom given. Precious but very common. So D is the answer. Glimpses into the prenatal world via ultrasound image occasionally show behavior such as it means I want one example. So I'm looking for behavior example. The development of the central nervous system, no. The sex of the baby to be a fetus sucking its thumb, structures as small as pupil of an eye of a second trimester fetus. So obviously here, this is what sentence giving me idea for behavior. Okay, like this, I will take you to different. Then finally, we'll move to the complete paragraphs like this. Okay, and I will give you. We'll talk about some kind of examination point of all that stuff. Okay, so I will stop here, guys. I need to catch up with another class. Okay, see you in the next class.